Well, hello. I'm coming to you from a different place today, all of 25 feet from where I normally come. I'm usually at the dining room table. Today, I'm sitting at my desk downstairs where I've been doing some work, and I've been thinking about what I would say to you this week. I always know how I'll begin, which is to remind you you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift you already are. Just the way you are already those things. I've been pondering uh, our visit to the beach a couple of weeks ago. My wife and I take my parents. Uh, we try to take them just about every year. The pandemic interrupted that. This was the first year Mom and Dad were willing to go with my wife and I down there together. And this year was unusual in a couple of ways. The usual condo we rent was unavailable, so we stayed in a different condo. And so that was different. This is the first year that we've been to the beach when it was in the 60s during the day. So walking on the beach was a different experience than when we're walking and the wind is blustering off the ocean and it's about 30 degrees outside. So that was different. And it was warm enough to sit on the balcony of our uh, condo and actually look out on the ocean, to watch the waves and to feel the breeze, and at least one morning to watch the sunrise, to see the porpoises and all the seabirds. Um, and I thought, wow, isn't this great? I sure hope that the next time I come back, it's just as good as it is this time. And the truth is, it will be just as good. It just will be different. What are the things that I use to measure something as good or bad? We had a great time on the winter times we went to the beach with my parents when it was 30 degrees outside. We just had to bundle up more when we walked on the beach. Was it any less beautiful to be there? No, it really wasn't. It was just different. And everything is changing all the time. It's always different. But if I start to get into that rut of expecting them to be the same, measuring this was the best year at the beach. Why was it the best? Because it was in the 60s. What was, what about 4 years ago? What was best about the beach that year? And if I begin to measure it by the restaurants we usually go to, Tortugas Lie, it has been excellent every time we've gone. What if next year it's not? No, not trying to put any shade on my friends at Tortugas Lie. We only get to go there once a year, but those once a year visits have been great. And we have truly enjoyed that. Um, what about the Blue Moon Beach Grill? Uh, every year we've gone there, it's been great. What if the next year it's not so great? Will that ruin our beach adventure? Is it the company that we keep? Is it the specific discussions? Because as soon as I attach all these things, these conditions to what I expect to be good, I have set myself up to fail. I've set the event and the future up to be less than what it was. And nostalgia does the same thing to us. We look back and we wish, oh, I remember when we used to stay outside and play until the street lights went out. The world was a better place then. Was it really? Was it really? Yeah, many of the African nations hadn't gained independence from their colonial powers at that point. Was that good? No. Um, Most of the neighbors that we had in fact, almost all the neighbors we had in our immediate neighborhood were not people of color. And I don't think that was an accident. Was that good? Uh, it was the way things were. So we can easily color in our mind something as beautiful, as wonderful in the past, and always be comparing now to that thing. And I've got a heads up I need to give you, and that is it will never be the same. Every moment is different. Even on this beautiful week that we went to the beach and we sat on the beach, or we walked on the beach every day, the sand was different from morning to morning. Some of it had blown into different locations. Now it was sand, but it was different sand. The waves were not the same. The currents had taken the water that we had seen roll in as waves yesterday. They're new waves now. Just like, two waves in succession are different waves. One day there were porpoises. Another day there were porpoises, but they weren't the same porpoises. They weren't in the same water, the same fish school, the schools of fish weren't there, the same atmosphere was different. The clouds changed from day to day. Yes, they were clouds. Yes, it was the ocean. But it wasn't the same ocean that we had seen the day before because the water was different. All the molecules that we were seeing were different. The waves were different. The wind was different. Everything is always changing. We try to fit them into our neat categories and then set our expectations to fit those categories. And when it doesn't measure up, then we are disappointed. We create our own disappointment so much by setting up expectations no one can ever live up to, or no situation could ever live up to. I'm not saying don't have expectations that, we ought to all treat each other with love and respect and that kind of thing. But if you expect every moment to be like that magical moment we had 5 years ago, as if you could make that moment arise the way you wanted to, it's going to arise whether you like it or not. So why not just stop putting all of your expectations and measuring everything by those expectations on those moments, and instead just be there. Just be there. We had a great time with Mom and Dad. Linda and I did. We ran into the mom of someone I had heard about. We had heard about the mom. We ran into the mom of a wonderful summer staff member from Appalachia Service Project, Susan Payne, Madison Payne's mom, and we ran into her on the beach. What were the chances of that? If I measure every year at the beach now, from now on, that I randomly run into the mother of someone who's amazing in my life, chances are pretty good that that no beach trip will measure up to this one. So just be careful. Just be aware of the expectations you're putting on things that you enter into every single day. And realize that no matter how rose-colored your beautiful glasses are about the way things were and how great that one time was, this time is going to be different. Just is. So be thankful for the difference. Live into the difference. And don't create the suffering that goes with having things that didn't quite measure up. Don't create that suffering for yourself, because you create it when you measure things by the way they were. Measure them the way they are. They're a gift right now. You're breathing. Your heart's beating. You're alive. You're listening to me. I don't know if you consider that a gift or not, but whatever it is, it's an opportunity to be thankful. Thanks for joining me today. Remember, you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift you already are in this moment. Thanks for joining me, and until the next time.